Welcome, welcome. So it's third day, so we have some nutrition.
Morning study out.
Yeah, it's still morning on Sunday.
Still morning
Only
on
1
Sunday.
o'clock. People hadn't got back from the buffet. So anyway, thank you all for coming and to figure out what we want to do. Do you have any particular questions or issues or things you'd like to work on?
No, not particular. Just for me, just showing up today.
Uh-huh.
I would like to, I've been very interested in Joe, and I will get into it as soon as I get the time.
Okay.
He's moving into town, yeah, it's a long story.
Yeah.
But I'm hungry for something like you just your warm-up thing, things along the lines of the walkish kind of thing.
Okay.
I can do on my own that will get me primed up.
One of the things that Shimizu Sensei, who is one of the big spreaders of Jodo, one of the things that he did was he created a set of 12 Kihon exercises. And I think of there being big or surface Kihon and then deep Kihon. And surface Kihon is this strike. That's Kihon. Basic strikes, there's 12 of them. And that's kind of like a walking set. You can do it by yourself, you can do it with a partner. Walking can't necessarily do. Deep Kihon are principles of how do you hold a stick, how do you hold a sword, how do you move your body. So I guess let's go ahead and we'll bow in and we've been working through some of the Kihon the last couple of days, and we'll kind of catch up with that, and then we'll figure out some other good stuff to work on. So anyway, let's go ahead and classical Jodo start Seiza. So we're down here. Hey. Showman. Hey. So good to each other. Hey. All right. So have you done Jodo before? Maybe once or twice. So basic ideas. This is called Sage-jo. Goes up against the back of my shoulder, and this is a nice, safe way to carry the Jo, so that you don't hit someone turning around. I want the Jo to balance on the middle finger, right in the center of my hand, or the center of the Jo. And if you notice how your hands, when they relax at your side, there's a little bit of a turn to the center of your hand. So if you hold the Jo here, if you see what happens, it kind of goes right in front of my center. So that's good. I want to always control and know where the center is between me and my opponent. So if this is here, my thought on how the stick moves is that the stick is going to move in the most efficient way to where it needs to go. And my body has to adapt to support the movement of the Jo. So I don't change the angle or the trajectory of the Jo to suit my body. I change my body to suit the weapon. So when I bring the Jo forward, I want to, you see the Jo just travels in a straight, unbroken line right up to his eyes. So the Jo is doing this. When I put my body behind it, now posture is really important. If I were to do this, then what I've done is I've broken posture, and then at the moment that the Jo is actually trying to move in to strike the opponent, my body's going backwards. That's not supporting the Jo. Joe wants to go forward, there is a concept called seme. Seme, the word semeru means to attack. And so seme is attacking. And if I'm going to work with Dale here, I just attack him with the Joe and with my body. All of the power comes from the hip, from pushing. So I'm not hitting him with my hand and leaving my hip out. I'm thrusting my whole body into it. I tend to think of the Joe as being like a nail, and your butt is the hammer. So if I'm going to hit, it's this. So anyway, let's. Have you done the Kihon, the basic strikes? I think maybe a previous seminar we might have done that. Okay, so we'll do Kihon, and what I'd like to do is follow along. I've talked about it the last couple of days. I don't want to repeat stuff, and it's all in video, so we can you can pick up and use that as a reference of how not to do things. And when you see my mistakes, you can go, ah, that's a good mistake. I'll remember not to do that. Right? So let's line up over here, and I'll put you next to me. You can watch, and yeah, we'll alternate a little bit so you can try to model. All right? Okay, and the commands are all Japanese, and you just kind of follow on, get used to it. All right, Honte ni kamai. This is called Honte kamai. Honte ichi, oi, hajime. Hey, 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 back. Hey, 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 eyes. Hey, right in the eyes. Now, you see how wide your grip is? This pulls your shoulder forward, pushes your hips back. Hold about maybe a foot apart. I want you to roll your hands here so that they're on top of the Joe. This is a pushing motion. And if you feel for this here, feel how low that is? It's weak. Put it up to your center. That's a little too, feel how it gets high, it's weak. It's going to be weak low, it's going to be weak high. Put it right out in front of your center and push. There. That's a better. Now, make sure that your hands are on top. Both hands are rolled on top. All right. Hey, Yame. Otoi. Hey, Gyakute ni kamai. Gyakute uchi. Oi. Hajime. Hey. 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 All the way. Hey. Back to the. Hey. 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 Yame. Mokoi. On this one, try to use. This one, all your hands are doing is sliding like this. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Try to use the grip of the little finger here to drive it, and have your body right in behind the strike.
Still the center thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Always, yeah.
Yeah. On this one, here, line up your knuckles. Because knuckles are in line to the stick. Okay? Yame. Mokoi. Third one. Makiotoshi ni kamai. Like this.
It's the old days.
So, here. And really important thing on this is the stick, remember, is going to line up towards your enemy. So if I'm standing this way, my enemy is over there. So I need to aim the stick at you with my feet. This posture is not going to change, but I need to make sure that I know where my stick is aiming. Okay? This is a big strike, biggest strike in Joe. Hey, let's move a little bit. We've got plenty of room. Hey, Makiotoshi, Hajime. Hey,
Hey!
hey,
Hey!
hey, hey, back. Hey,
Hey!
hey,
Hey! Hey!
hey. Move it all the way back. Yay! Big strike. Hey, yeah.
This hand's doing it.
Yeah, if you're here, this is right in front of the center of my chest. Here. I got right on the end of the stick. And my backhand is right at my side. And I just turn it over and hold the stick right near my hip. Don't make space. Right there. So,
Oh?
yeah. So yeah, you're coming from back here. Hand is, hand start open. Open. Not here. Here. Yeah. Because I want to be able to grip it. If you start with your hand here, then now you're kind of pulling with your elbow. If you start here, then that grip does something. Closing the grip actually accelerates the stick. Okay? You can almost feel the stick pulling your body into the strike. Every strike we're doing, you want to extend to the maximum. If I do this, you see how small this is?
Yeah.
Big strikes. Yay! So you have full extension of the weapon and full acceleration of the tip. All right? So, yame, motoi. Now, from this point on, don't worry. It's just, these are crazy techniques. So, honte ni kamae, kai shizu, yoi, hajime, oh, 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 back, oh, 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 yame, motoi. Changing sides. Next one similar. Honte ni kamae. Gyak tezuku. Yoi. Protecting my head. Hajime. Hold. Eight. Hold. Eight. Hold. Eight. Hold. Eight. Hey, yame, motoi. Makiotoshi. Honte ni kamae. Makiotoshi. Oi. Hajime. Hey!
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 Hey! Hey! Yame, motoi. Back. Kuri-tsuke. Oi. Hajime. Hey. There we go. Hey, yame. When you call yame, zanshin. Motoi. Back. For years, I've been worked this one this way, from here up to full extension and around, and up and around. And when you do the technique, that's what it looks like. But the extension is not weightlifting. Here, we talked about that the other day. The sword's not going to be pushing here. And there's not really a need for this motion. As a matter of fact, it's counterproductive. And Sensei has been, from here, just making it as a semicircle. And what happens with this business if you think about, let me, Jeff can come. If you think about, oh, you're probably too young to remember this, but television sets used to have, when you go to the UHF on the dial, you'd have your gross control, and then you have a fine tuning. So if you were to attack here, this is the fine tuning. The gross motion is here, the coarse adjustment, and the fine tuning. If I just start moving here, do you see how my fine tuning is matching him? I don't know how long his arms are. It'll be different with you. You're at a different height. You know, your shoulder is about here. So everything's going to be a little different for the fine tuning. The coarse motion is here. So I think that's the reason for taking this out of the Kihon practice, because you get people trying to lift at this point. So if he comes in to cut and here, and I try to lift,
It's an extra beat.
it's an extra beat. Also, I haven't moved yet. So if I just lift his hands,
With your arms.
he's likely to react. How would you like to react to that? So maybe he'll just keep lifting. If I lift him without moving, I think that maybe I'll get cut. So, right. And this fine tuning, there's also two more very similar techniques, and the fine tuning helps you jump in and out between them. So let's do the next track. Kuri-hazushi. Hey, Kuri-hazushi. Oi! Hajime. Hey!
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 Yame. Mokoi. So Kuri-hazushi in practice and in practice is making, I start with the foot. So rather than pushing out with my arms or whipping like this, both hands come forward. But if you notice, my foot starts just a little before my hands move. Now the fine tuning is going to be adjusting to the sword, because the sword's going to be moving. The sword's not going to sit and wait for you. The sword is going to and be coming off, doing something besides waiting for you to throw it. So here, and if you notice, what's happening is real slowly from this position, there. If I'm throwing, there. So there's a sensitivity issue where you have to feel what the sword is doing. You start pressure by kicking off of your feet. That pressure causes, or let me say, it attacks the sword's response. And then you have the different possible reactions. Do the third one, Tai-atari. Oi! Hajime. Hold. Hold. Come down. Yame. Toi. Hey. And my comment on this one is that one of the biggest problems that people have with Tai-atari, which Tai-atari means a body push, is that they'll do this. They'll get to here and they'll be in something like this position. I'm pulling back right now with this hand to push forward with this hand, and I'm pushing with my shoulder, and this has a couple of issues, okay? One of them is that I'm actually pushing my hip backwards. For safety, if he does let this, let's say raise this sword a little bit, this can come off and snap into his face. Which, you know, in a fight, that's probably not the worst thing that could happen, but it does run you through partners pretty quickly. So this is a bad practice. Okay. First off, the stick should be vertical. Second, this is called Tai-atari. Tai means body. Atari means to strike. Okay. Doesn't mean to push. It's a strike. It's the same kanji as atemi, or ate in atemi waza. So if I am going to strike him with my body, notice what I did here is I adjusted him here. Now, hold. I didn't go with him. I hit him. And the metaphor I'd like to use on this, and I'm not sure the name of this, but there's a kind of a businessman's toy that is a bunch of steel balls, and they do this. They don't do that. They don't go with it. They stop. They pop, pop. And that's really what you're doing with Tai-atari. And this becomes really important if you do seitei. Number 11, kata, has a very fast Tai-atari where you come in from here, hold, and you got to get out of the way of a strike. If I do that and I push him, look where I am, and I now have to pull myself back while he's cutting me. It's kind of bad. So if you think about this idea of getting him back, then I'm in a better shape. I don't have to throw my weight forward with this hand. Bam! And the step becomes very easy. So one of my teachers in Japan said when we were doing a certain set of kata, he said, all of your problems that you're having are with Kihon, with these exercises. And so if you work on your Kihon, then that'll fix the problems in the kata. Let's go on. Okay. Tai-atari. Now, last three, we hadn't done these the last couple days. Let's go ahead and add the last three Kihon. So this one is called Suki-hazushi. You want to think Suki is a thrust, sword thrust into the belly. So you want to get out of the way of the sword thrust. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this and I'm going to turn sideways. So as this drops, it comes in here. So with both hands, here. Now, my posture, don't cross your foot behind. So if your heels are lined up, that's okay. But what I'm doing, I'm using the Jo as a shield. So I put it here. I have my body behind the stick. I'm in line here. See where my elbow is bent in front? So I've got a grip, look at this, middle of the stick. Nice place to have a grip. So then I'm going to turn my hips to the right. Look what my foot does. Zip. And this brings the Jo just almost literally does this. Travels up. This is hasso kamai, like you would have with a sword. And then there's a little furikaburi. Furikaburi means lifting the weapon. And I do that as I start to strike. Bam! So here, catch the sword, change, strike, step forward, then go to the next movement. Okay? Let's try that together. Ichimonji, Kamai.
Tied up with the blankets.
Suki-hazushi. Oi! Hajime. Hey!
Eight.
Catch. Change. Let go one end, grab the other end. Strike. Thrust in. Hey! Hey!
Eight.
Wait! Yay!
Eight.
Hush. Okay. There you go. Yame. Motoi. come up. So that's one. Like I said, the first 3 or 4, okay, I got the rest of it. You can really, yeah. So, and the next one's called Do-barai. Do is this area right here. Do is the body, and the do cut comes between the bottom of the rib cage and the hips. Not any bones there. It's a nice place to get sword sink into, which I don't like because my liver's over there. I could be in trouble. So what's going to happen is I open up this backhand just like the first. Step back and block here. And I think one of the key elements to this is that you're going to step back and block in 1 count. So if you're going 1, 2, this is not going to catch a sword strike, but as the sword comes in, it's 1, 1, 2. On the back end of this, from this block, what I'm going to do is spread my arms, and then I'm going to get the stick into position. Now, I don't really need to turn my hips at the beginning of that motion because right here, as you can see, I've used up all of my hip turn and I haven't even hit the sword yet. So I accelerated the stick, but I'm not applying the power to the sword. So catch the sword, bam, and use that hip turn to pop the sword. And don't have to be strong with the arms. Shoulders can be relaxed. Matter of fact, if you want to be quick, you have to relax. Hey! So I'm letting the motion of my hip come. And this, you're going to have this feeling with a lot of the techniques. The stick comes into your grip. So from here, look at this hand. That's no grip. Now it's a grip. So you learn to catch the grip. And this is the standard grip. It's the same grip I would have here. It's just that I'm cross-footed and cross-body with the strike. So let the stick come into your grip that way, and we'll try that. Okay? Honte ni kamae. Honte ichi. Shimizu. Do-barai ichi. Oi. So here. So yeah, so this right hand straight up in front of the shoulder. This hand in front of the hip. You can see here, this way. Yeah, and you can have your hands a little higher. That's okay. Change, strike. Look where my hips are. Not here, here. So keep the body in. Push your back hip into your front knee. There's a torque of the body right there. Hey! Then spring into the face. Again. Catch. Split. Strike. Come forward. Hey!
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 Hey. Okay. Now, remember that the sword is over here. So where are you going to strike? You could. But if you're going to strike down the sword, you're going to come here. So watch my angle here. So I'm striking where the sword is, because
So you're clearing the sword.
or breaking it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, there are some kata. If the sword's not there, obviously you're not going to go and strike with air. So in Ranai, in number 12 of Seitei, you catch the strike. While you're doing this, well, he gets the sword the heck out of there. So in the Ranai version, you strike straight through the head. and you miss, because he's really good. But that's another story. In the Kihon version, and if you're doing a paired version of this, when you cut the dough, go ahead. You have that. You feel how that sets it up correctly. All right, so let's do a couple more Do-barai. Okay, honte ni kamae. Do-barai uchi. Oi. Hey. Yeah, there you go. Hajime. Hey.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey!
Hey, yame. Toy. I want to make another comment about the Do-barai, is that Do-barai is sometimes done against the body. So if you were to try to cut to this side, I can block your elbow by sticking this right into your ribs. And this is also Do-barai.
Okay.
So you'll see that sometimes also, where you'll have Do-barai done against the body, the same way that you'll see this also done against the body. So let's say he's going to come and cut, and I may come in here. And you can feel how that really locks that elbow up good.
So neutralizes the
So
sword.
sometimes these are done against the body rather than out in the air to block a weapon. You'll block the
Still
body.
neutralizes the
Oh
sword.
yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, and let's stay just right here. We're gonna stay up here. The last Kihon is called Tai-hazushi. What I'm gonna do here is I draw back, drop this to the inside of my thigh bone, so that the stick is horizontal to the side of me. Hand is there, and then normally I would turn this hand over into a sheath and sheathe my weapon, okay? But in this case, there's a treachery involved, and cut comes at my head. I step back feet together and hey, fire it over my shoulder. Hey!
Hey!
Knee. Sun. Sheath. All right. So the housekeeping on this is that when I'm in this position here, and I do this, you see how the stick has a line of attack? Stick wants to do that. Unfortunately, my shoulder is in the way. So as my arm goes back at this point, you can see that the shoulder disappears, comes out of the line, and you're able to strike. Notice that I've got this grip with my hand. This is my power hand. The grip on the back hand connects the stick, the entire length of the stick, to my body and to my hips. So this is true with the sword. This is where your power comes from the back hand holding it to the body. And in this guy also, hey! So it's not pushing here, it's this. So in all of these cases where I'm using the back end of the Jo rather than the middle of the Jo for power, the principle is very similar to if you have a gun. You have the cartridge at this very end of the Jo, and you have the sight up here. That's what you aim with. So if I'm using my aiming hand for power, I don't have any power, and I also don't have any aim. So it just isn't very good. If I use my back hand for power, then I can use the front hand to aim or to stop the stick if I need to. So it's really much safer to do proper technique. Okay? So